We are heading into War Games at Survivor Series next weekend, and the OG Bloodline came into the show tonight down one man. It was 5-on-4. And I didn't think that we would get the fifth man announcement this week. I thought they would wait until next week. I thought maybe they would wait until Survivor Series. But boy, they had a big ending set up for SmackDown tonight. Now, if you remember last week's show, the way it went off the air with Roman Reigns trying to call the wise man. He tried to get Paul Heyman on the phone, found out that the number was disconnected. He was devastated. He looked heartbroken. So you knew that Heyman was going to factor into this War Games match in some way, but maybe they were going to hold off until the actual event. So they come into the show tonight. We get both bloodlines in the final segment. Solo Sikoa says, look, all you got to do is join us. We could dominate this company for decades, as if the Samoan dynasty is not going to dominate this company for the next couple of decades anyway. With the number of family members they have, it's inevitable. But he said, you join with us and we'll be unstoppable. And then we heard the voice. Ladies and gentlemen. And out walks Paul Heyman, and not in his usual attire. Paul Heyman walks out. It looks like he was there for a wedding. Paul Heyman walks out in a nice black suit. He's got a red shirt, looking very festive here for the holiday season. And he says, this match at Survivor Series is not going to be 5-on-4. It's going to be 5-on-5, and this is the fifth man. And out comes CM Punk, who we have not seen since the show after Bad Blood. He was the walking wounded. He could barely move after the war, the battle he had, the bloody battle he had with Drew McIntyre. We have not heard from CM Punk since then. CM Punk came back a year ago at Survivor Series, so it was kind of hard to imagine the WWE would not find a spot for him here on this show, and find a spot for him they have. He is going to now join with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and Jimmy and Jey Uso to take on Solo Sikoa's bloodline at Survivor Series. Huge ending. The fans, of course, lost their minds and went nuts, even just for Heyman coming back, let alone Punk coming out and cleaning house, and that parting shot with Punk and Roman Reigns in the ring together for the first time. So it was an excellent ending, a very exciting ending that will get a lot of people talking going into next week. A part of me still feels like they should have waited, and it would have been cool if they would have held off. They would have had the balls to hold off until Survivor Series and have the reveal there. I understand them wanting to do it in advance and really drum up interest for the show. I get that. It also makes me wonder if they have something just as big, if not bigger, planned for the end of that show. And so maybe they didn't want to step on their own toes, kind of like they did last year when we had Randy Orton as the big surprise in War Games, and then out came CM Punk at the very end of the match. Maybe they have something else big planned for the end of that show, and they wanted to kind of get this out of the way now. But one person who I am sure will not be very happy about this development, even though he has nobody to blame for it but himself, is Seth Rollins. But we'll talk more about that in a very newsworthy ending to the show tonight. Something else that happened on the show tonight that we will get into that I thought was, outside of the ending, the strongest thing on the entire show, involved Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. They still have no match official for Survivor Series. We don't know for sure that they will have a match at Survivor Series, but tonight they had a face-to-face from afar. Dueling promos from these two guys. This was the best Cody Rhodes has sounded on the microphone maybe ever since coming back to WWE. The fire and the intensity that he had in his voice was a welcome change from the usual Cody Rhodes promo that we get on these shows. Kevin Owens is always great in these situations. What we ended up getting on this show was an excellent back and forth between these two to really get you hyped up to want to see them get in the ring together. But then, unfortunately, tragedy struck. We did have somebody on this show who was supposed to be a part of War Games next weekend, and it looks like no longer will be. And that is Jade Cargill, one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, who was left for dead tonight on top of a car in the parking lot. I don't remember who it was, Marquand. It might have been Marquand in the chat who cracked me up a couple of minutes ago. I glanced over and I saw the comment, everybody's going to be speculating now and talking about who attacked Jade. It's a big whodunit now. That's going to be the storyline, and I have an idea about who it was. But who did it? Who took out Jade Cargill? And then I think it was Marquand who said the plot twist Because she fell from a great height. It looked like she fell from fucking 10 or 15 feet and she landed on top of this car. The windshield was busted. But he said, plot twist, Jade slipped and fell. Wouldn't that be something? If in the end we just find out, like, they have security camera footage, she's wearing those high heels. Jade Cargill just got a little too close to the edge and she slipped and fell. And that's the payoff to the entire story. Maybe she's a klutz. Maybe Camille is not the only one who is a klutz. We also have a lot of anger in the tag team scene, carrying over from last week. I'm loving it. This tag team division needed something. It needed a fire lit under its ass. And so at least now we have something going on in the tag team division on this show. We have a lot of different things here to get into. I enjoyed the show on the whole. So let's talk about it. This is your Friday Night Smackdown review for November 22nd, 2024. I am the Solomonster. Today would have been my mother's 65th birthday. So this day has a special place for me. I can't believe it's already been 6 years that she's been gone. I know many of you knew her affectionately as Mama Monster. I would joke about her on the show. We had her on the show once before on one of the audio shows on Mother's Day. It's one of those things that gets a little bit easier with time, but it never fully goes away. You know, and I know some of you do know what I'm talking about. And hopefully the ones that don't will not know that for a very long time. But I did want to mention that at the top, I posted a video I had put together several years ago. I share it every year on social media. There's always people who've never seen it before, and I don't care, frankly. I just like posting it. And I got a lot of very nice messages today. So thank you for that, because that's where my mind was today. We are celebrating 17 years all November long of the Sound Off. Thank you for joining me. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. You will see them periodically popping up on your screen if they come in. And if they do, I will read your messages a little bit later on here in the stream. Also, for those of you who wish to support, we've got 'Tis the Season to gift a channel membership to others here on the channel. You could always gift memberships, but it is the holiday season for those who are in a very giving mood. See Santa Solomonster there. He's all hyped up. Look at this guy. He looks like he's strung out on something. Let's talk about the beginning of the show. SmackDown opened with Solo Sikoa, Bronson Reed, who was the fifth man on his squad, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa coming down to the ring. Again, their five-man team is solidified for War Games. We already knew that last week. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline come into this show one man short. Solo said that he and his crew are ready to dominate in War Games. He said Roman Reigns is not ready because he wasn't even in the building yet. But when he gets here, he wants Roman to meet him in the middle of the ring later to accept the terms of his surrender. I don't know about you, but I wasn't exactly expecting that Roman was going to come out and offer the terms of his surrender, but that's what Solo wanted. He says once that happens, Roman will acknowledge him. And that was it. I mean, there was nothing to this segment. Nothing at all. I mean, it set the stage for the closing segment, but there wasn't much to this at all. Him and his Bloodline members coming to the ring took longer than the actual promo itself. To the point where I thought maybe Roman really was stuck in traffic somewhere, and maybe he just wasn't at the building. I thought for sure when he finished speaking that Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn might come out, even if Roman, they were saving him for later in the show. Nobody came out. So, not a whole lot to say about this opening segment. It really wasn't much of one, but again, it set the stage for what was to come a little bit later on. We really opened with another first-round triple threat match in the Women's United States Championship tournament. The tournament kicked off last week. Bayley got a win in her opening round match. And so Bayley would meet the winner of this match here between Bianca Belair, Chelsea Green, and Blair Davenport. Blair Davenport has not wrestled on this show since the end of August.
I am the last.
Long time. Shut the fuck up. Fuck that tree. Long time ago, George Seckman Thank you for the super chat. So we have not seen Blair Davenport in a very long time, and you pretty much could have figured out on your own she was not going to win the match here. She was a warm body to have in the ring. But at least it's nice to see her, I guess. Some people probably even forgot that she's employed. There's somebody else, by the way, on this roster who you may have forgotten is employed, and we got to see him for a brief moment later in the show. We'll talk about that when we get to that part. We'll see if you spotted him. You could have easily missed him, but he was there. He was there in the background. I thought it was solid stuff from these three. Chelsea took Bianca down with a Rough Rider. I wonder where she learned that from. And Davenport followed with a double stomp off the top rope to Chelsea's back. Belair went for a moonsault. Davenport got the knees up, and Bianca came back and landed a double German suplex. She took both women over because she's strong. She's not afraid to show it off either. So she dumped them both, only got a 2 count out of it. Davenport climbed to the top. Chelsea cut her off. And Chelsea Green hit a superplex from the second rope. And with Davenport down, Bianca then landed a 450 splash on top of Blair. Chelsea, though, grabs Bianca and throws her out of the ring and tries to steal the pin. Bianca drags her outside the ring and sends Chelsea hard into the barricade. Bianca then sprints back into the ring, tries for the pin. Too much time had elapsed, and so Blair was able to kick out. All of a sudden, we could hear a commotion. We hear like people, frantically talking to each other. And then they cut to a shot, and they put this up on the Tron, but they cut to a shot of officials in the back surrounding Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill was laying on top of a car in the back. The windshield was all smashed up. It looked like a fucking crime scene. She looked like she was dead. Looked like she had even like a black eye. She had something around her eye, and they're all surrounding her. Everyone's in a panic. Now, Bianca, she's outside the ring, and she's looking at the Tron, and she's looking back at the ring, and she's looking at the Tron, and she's looking back at the ring, and she did, for a brief moment, seem to hesitate in trying to figure out, what should I do? So her first instinct was not to immediately run to the back. She's like, well, I got this match, but my friend is dead. But I got this match. And then ultimately she did decide to flee to the back. But it wasn't like an instantaneous decision. And that might cause some trouble in the future between the two of them, but we'll see. In the ring, Davenport caught Chelsea with a super kick and hoisted her up for her finish. I assume her finish. I mean, this woman has been such a non-factor on this show. I don't even know what her fucking finish is. But she lifted her up for some kind of move. Chelsea slipped out, dropped her with the unprettier. And Chelsea Green picks up the win. And so now this is what the bracket, the updated bracket, looks like for the Women's Championship Tournament. Bayley is in the next round. She will now wrestle Chelsea Green, and the winner of that match will move on to the finals. December 14th, Long Island, New York, Saturday night's main event. Look, Chelsea's moving on to the next round. I told you she would. Right? When I mapped out what my predictions were for this tournament, I know a lot of people thought, well, Bianca and Bayley, and Bianca doesn't like Bayley, you could do a match between them. I said, no. If Chelsea's not winning the entire thing, which I don't think she is, you have to at least put her in the next round. And that's what we're getting. We're getting Bayley and Chelsea, and that's the right call. And they protected Bianca from having to take the pinfall in this match. Now, after a break, Bianca is outside the building. She's sprinting towards the ambulance in the parking lot. She's hysterical. Bayley and Naomi were there. They also looked concerned. And Bianca ended up leaving in the ambulance with her partner. So the question now turns to who did it. And I got to be honest, I kind of like Marquand's suggestion of Jade she's clumsy, and the woman slipped and damn near broke her own neck. We can't discount the possibility that she's just very lazy. But let's assume that's not the case. Who did it? Who's responsible for taking out Jade Cargill? Now, a lot of people are going to turn to Bianca, her partner. They think that the two of them are going to be splitting up soon, right? I mean, headed maybe for a match at WrestleMania. So maybe this is the start of something here, and we get the big reveal at the end of all of it that Bianca was the one behind it. I don't buy it. I mean, I think we could pretty much put Bianca on the side, if for no other reason. Bianca just basically sacrificed her spot in the championship tournament. She gave up the United States Championship and the right to become the first ever United States champion to go to the back to check up on her friend. And so I don't think it's going to end up being Bianca, at least for that reason. So we'll take her out of the picture. Naomi. Wouldn't surprise me if maybe they have a heel turn in store soon for Naomi. I mean, Naomi could certainly use something. She has not had a lot of success so far in the main roster this year, and she just had a championship match with Nia Jax last week. I thought it was a very good match, but she failed. She fell short of winning the title. Now she's in this tournament. She's going to try to become the U.S. champion. Maybe she's trying to make her path to the finals a little bit easier, right? Better chance that it's Naomi. Better chance of her than Bianca. But I still don't think that that's the case. Then you look at Bayley. Bayley was there in the parking lot, right? It was her and Naomi. They were there. She was showing concern for Jade. And Bayley is very interesting because if you really pay attention, there was a segment, it was either last week or the week before. No, it was last week. It was in the back last week before the main event. And Bianca was there and Jade was there and Bayley and Naomi. Naomi was getting ready to go out for her match with Nia. And you could just tell, like, Bayley did not feel welcome with the other women. And Bianca doesn't like Bayley, but she just felt left out, right? And she ended up walking off. It's like that pathetic kid, that just sad sap of a kid who just wants to fit in. You feel bad for them, but the other kids don't really want to play with them, right? That was Bayley in that segment. And there was more of that on the show tonight, actually a little bit later on in the show. So between that and the fact that Bayley is in this tournament, and Bayley wants to become the champion as well. And so anybody in this tournament who takes out one of the people that is in the tournament is only going to make their job that much easier, you would think. So I look at Bayley and I say, there's your person right there. There's your person right there. Bayley is the one out of everybody here who makes the most sense, but there's another reason for it as well. Jade Cargill was supposed to be in War Games. And not only is she out of the tournament now, you have to expect that she's out of War Games because War Games is basically a week away. Wouldn't make sense for her to return in War Games after she looked like she was basically killed off tonight. Well, that opens up a spot in War Games. And Naomi is on that team, right? Bayley's good friend. Bayley doesn't want to feel left out. She wants in. She wants Jade's spot. So not only did she eliminate some of her competition in this tournament, she just opened up a spot that she will probably end up getting because now that team needs a fifth woman. And Bayley is going to be the one, I think, to slip right in there and take her spot. So I think Bayley is going to end up being the one. I think that, I think that they are probably going to turn her back heel. And you know what? It makes sense to me. A Naomi heel turn is something I'd be in favor of too. But a Bayley heel turn is okay with me too, and it makes sense. Even though it feels like, well, they just turned her babyface at the beginning of the year. It hasn't even been a full year yet. 5 years as a heel, less than a year as a babyface. Why would you turn her back? I'd be okay with it because Bayley right now, and honestly, I felt this way even when she was the champion. It just felt very lackluster. She had a very lackluster run as the champion. And part of it was just the competition that she was having. Just there was nothing very interesting. There was nothing exciting. Everything was really built around Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan and what was going on Raw. And nobody was really talking about what was going on SmackDown because nothing interesting was going on SmackDown. And the fans like Bayley, but it's not like they were really, I think back to SummerSlam and some of these other shows, they weren't going gaga for her on all of these shows. So I don't want to say that she's just a total dud as a babyface, but to me, it's not working enough to justify her continuing to be a babyface. It would be in her best interest, I think, frankly, to go back to being a heel. You know, at least for a while, I could see it. I think it's more likely her than Naomi. So for now, I'm going to stick with Bayley because I think she's the one. I think Naomi already has a spot in War Games. Bayley doesn't. That's what clinches it for me. She's going to steal a spot that she otherwise would not have had. She feels left out. She feels overlooked and left out. Or Jade slipped. I still love the idea that maybe Jade slipped. I'm sorry. But yeah, look, Bayley just has not worked out as a babyface in my book. She just hasn't gotten over at that level that I think would justify keeping her as a babyface. I think it would be better for her to go heel. We'll see. But I will also say this. You know, Jade Cargill is out of this tournament. And look, she's out of the tournament. Somebody has to take her spot. We're going to find out next week who it is because the match that she was supposed to be in is taking place. It's actually being taped tonight. They're taping 2 episodes of SmackDown tonight. You know, we're going into the Thanksgiving holiday next week, so they want to give the talent time off and not have to be, you know, on the road next Friday. So whatever, that's fine. But that match is going to take place next week. And look, if you're WWE and you're Paul Levesque and, oh, look, there's an opening. We have an injury. We need a substitute. You know damn well there's always one person on the list for WWE and for Paul Levesque to pick up the phone and call, and that is our good friend Charlotte Flair. Cashing in that Charlotte in the Bank. See, I bet you didn't know this, but that Charlotte in the Bank is not just for championships. Charlotte in the Bank could be for anything. It could be for a spot in War Games. It could be for a spot in a tournament for a championship. It could be for a title match. There could be an opening in the executive management in WWE. Nick Khan takes ill. He has to step down as the president of the company. Charlotte Flair runs to the headquarters with her Charlotte in the Bank, and guess who the new president is? It's Charlotte Flair. I'm telling you, man, that golden briefcase, you can cash it in for just about anything. So, do I think it's going to be Charlotte Flair in the match next week? Honestly, I don't know. Probably not. But do not discount the possibility that it could happen. You know damn well I'm right. We had LA Knight defending his United States Championship against Santos Escobar. Get the Charlotte signal? What would that be? Does Charlotte have a logo that you could like flash in the sky like Batman? Does she have some kind of like signature that we could use for a Charlotte signal? What would that even be? Probably a belt, right? Because she has so many of them. We'll put like a championship belt in the sky. LA Knight and Santos Escobar.
I'm the LeRae.
Speaking of championships. Fuck that. Ring of Honor World Champion making a run-in here on this stream. Yeah, fuck that tree. Before the U.S. title match here could kick off, we had a video that played. And that video was for Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, if you missed SmackDown last week, Shinsuke Nakamura is back. He's been missing for months. And he's got a new look, all black. He's got some makeup around the eyes, the hair covering his face. Looks kind of cool. In this video here, Nakamura said that he's been watching LA Knight. And he knows Knight better than Knight knows himself. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, isn't this the exact same thing that he did with Cody Rhodes? Even the messaging here sounds very similar to me. So Nakamura said that Knight is insecure. He is consumed with fear. He said Knight's fears are justified because this is the beginning of Knight's end. And the lights turned back on and Escobar in the ring attacked LA Knight. So again, I watched this video and I just thought like, man, this is the Cody Rhodes feud all over again. Where we had these spooky Nakamura vignettes for a while, and he was kind of stalking Cody Rhodes there for a couple months, and Cody beat him at every turn. That was it. This is feeling eerily similar to that for me. Late in the match here, Escobar perched LA Knight on the top rope. Knight headbutted Escobar away. He was going to try his jump-up elbow drop that he does, but Nakamura appeared. He distracted LA Knight. Escobar took advantage and hit a top row frog splash, but he did not go for the pin. Like an idiot. Even Michael Cole pointed this out on commentary. Instead, he set up for the Phantom Driver. Knight, though, countered out of it into a BFT, dropped him, pinned him to retain the U.S. title. Nakamura immediately hits and I mean immediately, hits the ring and attacks LA Knight, clad in all black, just like last week. Threw Knight's shoulder first several times into the ring post and then delivered a running knee strike to the back of LA Knight's head as he was leaning up against the middle turnbuckle, and he left the ring. The match was okay. The match was nothing special. It really was just the backdrop for the Nakamura stuff, the video at the beginning, the distraction, and then the post-match attack. That's really what this was all about. This is probably, more than anything else, this is probably just something for LA Knight to do, to keep him occupied for the next couple of months, give him an opponent that he could challenge. Saturday night's main event, SmackDown, heading into January, and then it'll be on to the next. More than this is any sort of reboot or serious push for Shinsuke Nakamura. The best thing I could say about it is that, look, I'm glad he's back. He's kind of refreshed his look. I think he looks cool. Right? He looks a little bit different. But there doesn't seem to be a whole lot else that's going to be different about this story. Again, this feels like a carbon copy of the Cody Rhodes thing from a year ago. So it's just LA Knight will beat him and then move on to whoever is next. And who that is, I don't know. Johnny Gargano was in the back talking to the Motor City Machine Guns, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, who had a match last week with the Street Profits that was interrupted by a deranged Tommaso Ciampa. So Gargano was apologizing for Ciampa's actions last week, and he said, we could resolve all of this in a tag team title match. So if you just give us, because Ciampa feels like he never got the shot, and we deserve a shot, so we could resolve all of this if you just give us a tag team title match. And Chris Sabin said, look, the Street Profits, they got next. It's only fair. Which is true. I mean, they had a title match last week. It got screwed up by Tommaso Ciampa. So why would you reward him with a title match? So the Machine Guns say no. The Street Profits are next in line. The Profits then show up, and they tell Gargano that his partner, if he could even call him that anymore, was a problem. And he was going to take care of him tonight because Montez Ford was having a match with Ciampa later in the show. So then they cut to a shot of Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Jimmy and Jey Uso walking through the back. So apparently they got through their traffic jam, and the OG Bloodline now have arrived. What will they do? Meanwhile, Nick Aldis was speaking with Nia Jax in the back and asked if she knew what happened to Jade Cargill. And Nia laughed and said she had no idea. She wanted Jade in War Games. She wanted to take her out in War Games. Aldis then looked over. He spotted Cody Rhodes off camera. He runs after him to stop him from going to the ring. Aldis said that he didn't think Kevin Owens was even in Salt Lake City tonight. Cody disagreed and said that Owens would not miss the opportunity. And so he continued his trek through the backstage area into the gorilla position. They hit his music, and the camera followed him out to the ring for the next segment. Cody gets into the ring, and he grabs a microphone. And he said, it's face-to-face time. And the only person not here tonight for sure is Randy Orton. So he demanded Kevin Owens come to the ring immediately. Owens did appear to address Cody, but not in the ring. He emerged from the crowd. And he stayed in the crowd for the first couple of minutes of this. He said he was summoned here because the great Cody Rhodes wanted him to be here. So he came dressed for the occasion. He said he dressed his very best tonight for Cody. He was wearing a sleeveless tuxedo t-shirt, which I thought was great. I'm not sure. Now, I know they sell those. I'm not sure if that was a because I thought they did $1 Million Man shirt like that on WWE Shop. So I don't know if that's where it was from, but he had a sleeveless tuxedo design t-shirt that he was wearing. And he was disappointed that Cody did not even wear his best sleazy politician suit for the occasion. Because, yes, Cody was wearing a tracksuit. Cody always wears a suit. Like, he'll wear a tracksuit twice a year. So tonight he chose to wear a tracksuit. This fucking guy wears a suit everywhere. He sleeps in those suits. I wouldn't be surprised if Liberty was conceived with Cody in a suit, and they had to get creative with how that was going to work. Open the fly, you do what you got to do, but he wears a suit everywhere. He probably wears it to the gym. Comes out of the gym, soaking wet. He takes the suit off, right? Gonna bring that to the cleaners. Let me go in my closet here. He's got 64 other suits. He pulls out a new one and puts it on. But tonight he was wearing a tracksuit. Cody said that he summoned him to the ring. And he hopped out of the ring. He was going to go after Owens. Security stepped in front of him. Owens asked Cody what has him so upset, because what's happened to everybody has been Cody's fault. And the two of them yelled over each other for a little bit. Owens walked to ringside. You know, it's little things like that. And you don't want to do too much of it because you want to be able to hear what they're saying. But this was getting very heated very fast. It's one of the things I loved about this segment was how fired up both these guys were, but especially Cody he was hot at Kevin Owens. But when they talk over each other a little bit, like when they're trampling over each other, that can be very effective because it's not something that we see all the time. Usually people take turns when they talk, right? You could be saying the most vicious, horrible thing about somebody, and they will simply stand there and let you finish your rant. And when you are done, then they will begin speaking, right? It's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. So even something as simple as like talking over each other, it kind of reminds me of one of the great promo moments that the last 10 years was on Raw. This was after Great Balls of Fire before SummerSlam. They were heading into that fatal four-way that we got with Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and Brock Lesnar. But it was right after Brock beat Joe. And I'm sure many of you remember this. When Joe came out to confront Brock and Roman was in the ring, Roman, my God, I mean, compare Roman then to Roman now. It's just like two different people. Roman was like a bystander. He was like a fan in the ring just watching all of this unfold. But Joe was just on fucking fire in that promo. And he and Brock had this moment where they just started talking over each other. And then it got really intense and they kind of butted heads there, literally butted heads. And like everybody was into this promo. It felt real. That was one of the things people said at the time. Oh, this felt real. Like these two guys really don't like each other. They're talking over each other and stuff. But I always think back to that promo. It was so great. And it just bugs the shit out of me that you could watch something like that and the people in management there just didn't look at Samoa Joe as somebody who could be champion. But anyway, we got a little bit of that here. So Owens called things that happened the last few months Cody's fault. Like what he did to Randy Orton, for example. And Cody got very upset when he insinuated that the reason Randy Orton was currently injured was because of him. So Owens, at this point, he climbs over the barricade. He's on top of the announce desk now. Okay, so he's out of the crowd. And he said for 4 years, and this is really the heart of what Kevin Owens was trying to get at here in this promo. For 4 years now, he fought the Bloodline, and the Bloodline tried to end his career. Roman Reigns tried to end this man's career multiple times. Owens, though, kept fighting.
I am the LeRae.
Shut the fuck up.
Fuck that tree. Owens kept fighting. He kept fighting and fighting and fighting against the Bloodline. And then Cody came back. And Kevin Owens stood by Cody Rhodes when it was Cody's turn to fight the Bloodline. And Owens noted that he even helped Cody at WrestleMania 39, which is true. If you remember in that first match with Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens came out, Sami Zayn came out, fought off the Usos, tried to pave the way for Cody to win that match. In the end, he lost. He mentioned that. He mentioned at WrestleMania this year after Cody beat Roman and finished his story. Owens was in the ring to celebrate his big championship win. But when Roman needed a partner all those months later because he alienated everybody else around him and nobody wanted to have anything to do with this man, Cody agreed to be Roman's tag team partner. So Owens said that Roman tried to take Owens' life. And yet, Cody still teamed with him. That's really what triggered this entire thing, was him agreeing to team with Roman Reigns at Bad Blood. Owens said Roman had tried to end his childhood dream that he had since he was 11 years old. So Cody erupted, and he said that Owens is obsessed with being a victim, and him choosing to team with Roman had nothing to do with it. He said Owens has every accolade possible in WWE. He's been here 10 years, all the things he's done here in a decade in this company, and the only one who doesn't realize it is Kevin Owens. So he addressed their match at Bash in Berlin. He brought that match up from back in August. Said that Owens couldn't pull the trigger on his bad knee. But instead, he decided to pull the trigger on Randy Orton, and he crossed the line with a banned move. He said, a move that, and this is what he said, a move that has ended people's lives. I would like to know whose life was ended by a pile driver in WWE. Please tell me. I might have missed that match. I know Steve Austin got dropped on his head, but last I checked, he was on the ranch with Macho and Pancho, and he was doing okay. But again, they're really trying to get the pile driver over as this just devastating, just career-ending move. Cody said this wasn't going to get solved on the microphone. He would be forced to beat it into Kevin Owens. He said whether it's tonight, whether it's at Survivor Series, or whether it's at Saturday night's main event, the ball was in his court. Owens said that they would have their fight, but it would happen on his terms. And the crowd booed, and then Owens said, congratulations, now you're not getting it tonight here in Salt Lake City. And they booed again. He said, and this was the money line here from Kevin Owens, he said he loved Randy Orton. He loved Randy Orton. But he hates Cody Rhodes. With the idea being that, look at what he did to somebody that he loved. What is he going to do to somebody that he hates? He steps down from the announce desk, climbs back over the barricade and into the crowd. And as he's walking away, Cody's not done yet. He's calling his name, Kevin. He's trying to get him to turn around. And Cody says there's no line that he will not cross when he gets his hands on Kevin Owens. And actually, before that, he actually said that he thinks what this is really all about is that Owens hates himself. And Owens teased that he was going to go back to the ring, but he turned back around and left anyway. But again, the line to pay attention to here, Owens loved Randy Orton, but he hates Cody Rhodes. So imagine what he is going to do to this man when they finally get in the ring together. And I love that. I love this entire segment. I said it at the beginning. I thought this was the best Cody Rhodes promo in forever because he brought something in this segment that you don't normally see out of him. He brought this intensity and this fire to his promo where it felt, they tried to make it feel real. They've established that Cody Rhodes loves and respects Randy Orton, right? They've had a bunch of segments together. Cody left in the ambulance that night when Owens pile drove Orton, and Orton had to be taken to the hospital. So to him, this is personal. And so you have to act that way. He shouldn't be out there cutting the usual Cody Rhodes promo with, the big words like he's running for office and cutting a political speech here. He's pissed off, and he wants to get revenge on this guy who tried to fucking maim his friend. And I mean, he was sweating bullets by the time this thing was over. He's probably going to wake up tomorrow and not have a voice. Like, he was really fired up here. And Owens, too. Owens is always great in these segments. Owens on the stick is one of the best in the entire company. It's one of the reasons why we have to get a CM Punk Kevin Owens feud one day, because it would just be so fucking good. Two guys that don't necessarily like each other very much, legitimately. We know Owens doesn't really care for Punk, legitimately. They have a history together going back to ROH. So that, I think, would even make it kind of come across that way more on TV. Not unlike Punk and Seth Rollins. Rollins doesn't like CM Punk. He's willing to work with him. But it's one of the reasons why the promos that we got from them this year were so good. Because you could tell, like, there's hate there. Like, these guys are not fond of each other. And you got to go to that place sometimes. You got to tap into that. And out of that, you can get some of the best promos. So we have to get Punk and Owens one day. It's not going to happen now, but we need to get that. So Owens is always great in these types of segments, but Cody, I thought, really shined here more than he normally would. Owens' character, and I don't care whether Kevin Owens is a babyface or Kevin Owens is a heel, has always been driven, I feel, by common sense, right? Even going back to the Elias stuff, when they were doing that goofy storyline, and he was the only one, like, it's the same person, right? Nobody would believe him. That's just part of his persona. He is driven by common sense. And he will point things out that you kind of look at and go, yeah, you know what? He's telling the truth. He's making a lot of sense in what he's saying. He was making a lot of sense here. He has every right to be upset with Cody Rhodes for teaming with Roman Reigns. Look at what Roman Reigns did to Kevin Owens over the last 4 years. Look at what Roman Reigns did to a lot of people on this show. You can go down the list. Drew McIntyre is another one. Sami Zayn. So Cody Rhodes, after he stuck his neck out for Cody, is going to team with the man who tried to end his career. I mean, wouldn't you be upset about that? So I think that's something fans can relate to. Now, they didn't make any official announcement tonight about a match. They said there's going to be a match. There was no announcement of when that match would actually be. My idea last week, even before last week, if you remember, was to do a match at Survivor Series. I mean, to me, you got to get Cody Rhodes on that card. You do Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, non-title. You have it non-sanctioned or no DQ, whatever the stipulation is. No title. Makes no sense to reward Kevin Owens for what he did by giving him a WWE Championship match right out of the gate, right? He's going to get one. But that's not what the first match should be. You do the first match at Survivor Series non-title, and out of that, 2 weeks later, you're on Long Island. It's Saturday night's main event. Cody did not mention Saturday night's main event here for nothing. He specifically mentioned that show, and he did that for a reason, because these two men are going to have a match on that show for the WWE title. The only question is, are they just going right into the title match, or do they do something before that? I think you do something before that. It doesn't have to be long. It could literally be 5-6 minutes. We didn't get anything with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton at Crown Jewel. We were supposed to have a match. The match never even started. They brawled into the crowd, and that was it. With Owens and Cody, you could do a 5-minute match. That, again, degenerates into a fucking brawl all over the building if you want to. Give people just enough to where you want to see them run it back a second time, and this time you could put the championship on the line. Or Cody wanted Owens so badly, and Owens then uses that and says, oh yeah, you want me back in the ring? Okay, on one condition. I want a shot at that. I want one more shot at that. And that's how you get to a title match. Cody goes to Nick Aldis and says, give me the match. Oh, well, we don't want to give him it. No, give me the match. I'm not leaving here until you give me what I want. And that's how you get your WWE title match. That's how I would do it. And then at Saturday night's main event, that could be where Randy Orton makes his return. Now, after this, in the back, Cody is walking through the hallway there, and he walks by Carmelo Hayes. And Carmelo Hayes was chatting it up with Giovanni Vinci. I sat here, I was like, holy shit, did I just see what I think I saw? I had to rewind it and go back. I mean, this is rarer than a Bigfoot sighting. We actually had a Giovanni Vinci sighting on this show. I couldn't believe it, but there he was, having a conversation. He's a social butterfly now behind the scenes. It's all he has. He doesn't have anything else. He doesn't wrestle. All he can do is go around and start conversations with people. That could be his new gimmick. Hey, how's the family? Yeah. How's that new job going for little Timmy? How's that going? All right. When does he start school? He just goes around starting random conversations with people. They should vlog it. I think that could help get him over. You could have the Vinci vlog on their YouTube channel. And literally, it's just a camera, and it follows him around. Catering. Yeah, maybe he's working out in one of the little side rooms there. Then he's having a conversation with somebody else. He tries to approach, I don't know, Gunther or something, and Gunther fucking shuns him away. You know, you can do anything. You can have fun with it. May as well. But anyway, so Cody overheard something that Hayes said that really upset him. And he walked over to him, and Hayes basically said that others in the back agree with Kevin Owens, that all of this is the fault of Cody Rhodes. And Cody shoved him. And Hayes fell backwards, and then he came right back at the champion and gave him a shove back. He didn't stand down. So Nick Aldis shows up. He gets in between these two men, and Cody tells Aldis that maybe it's time to reevaluate your top draft pick. And my first thought is, okay, we're going to get this match on the show next week, and then a few segments later, we got the official announcement on that taped show next week. It's going to be Cody Rhodes one-on-one with Carmelo Hayes. Obviously non-title. Oh, it should be The Rock in there with Roman Reigns. Oh, you Cody fans, you ruined it. You ruined it. Deal with it. Oh, look at the glasses. Look at the shades. Look at the shades. I've never looked better. Fire Panda.
I love you, Solo. You are my tribal chief.
And Jeremy Rose. Both of you, thank you very much. I appreciate the love. Feels good on a Friday. She's a brick house. She's my tomato. She's letting it all hang out. Base Beerus, God of Seduction. Not to be left out. Thank you as well. I'm going to be reading all of your messages here in a little bit. If you want to hang out on a Friday night, get them on in now. Roman Reigns and his fellow Bloodline teammates were sitting around in the back, tossing around ideas for a fifth man in War Games. Jey Uso is the one who suggested, hey, what about Cody Rhodes? Jey and Cody are former tag team champions on Raw. Jey and Cody are like this. So I've been waiting for that suggestion. It didn't make any sense why at least Jey wouldn't have thought about this at the beginning. So he threw that out there. Jimmy seemed receptive to the idea, and Sammy. And of course, the only one who was not was Roman. Roman said no. When they asked him why not, he said Cody is old news, and he's moved on. Good. Thank God. So Sammy then suggested making another go at Seth Rollins after what happened at the end of Raw on Monday when Bronson Reed beat Seth Rollins with some help from Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline, who distracted. And so maybe he would have a change of heart. You know, maybe now Rollins would want to team with them at War Games just to get back at Solo or just to get his hands on Bronson Reed. So he suggested, why not we go ahead and give it another go here? And Roman turned to Sammy and just shot him a nasty look. So that idea was immediately off the table. Roman said, you know what? I don't think we need anybody else. We got everybody here that we need. This is all that we need. And we're good. And if we're not, and we go in there, if we die together. That doesn't sound like a great suggestion if I'm Sami Zayn or Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso. I'm like, no, that's not good, actually. But Roman said, look, we could just go it alone. We don't need anybody's help. And Sammy asked Roman, okay, what's the plan? And Roman thought about it and he said, I don't know. We have Bayley and Naomi taking on Tiffany Stratton and Candice LeRae with Nia Jax in their corner. Not much to sing home about here. The story was Tiffany and Candice not getting along. I don't think Tiffany likes the fact that Candice has worked her way into favor with Nia Jax. Stratton had the upper hand on Bayley when Candice tagged herself in, and the two of them bickered. Stratton tagged herself back in a short time later and booted Bayley right in the face for a 2 count. Naomi took out Candice on the outside, and Tiffany missed the splash in the corner. When Bayley went to go tag Naomi, Bayley was down in the ring, and there's nobody around her. And Naomi is reaching for the tag. And I did, for a split second, think that Naomi was going to pull her hand back and drop down off the apron. I think I'm so damaged by wrestling here over all these years. I'm so conditioned to just think that in every situation like this, your friend will always turn on you. And it looked like that might happen here, but just as Bayley was about to reach for the tag, Naomi got yanked off the apron by Nia Jax, and then Nia sent her into the barricade, which gave Naomi and Bayley the win via disqualification. A very lame disqualification. After the match, the heels were beating down the baby faces when Io Sky's music hit. She ran out to make the save. Io hit a springboard drop kick on Nia, but then Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, more Raw talents, showed up, and they attacked. Then Rhea Ripley's music hit. Now the whole Raw roster was here. And Rhea ran out with a kendo stick. She was donning a black protective face mask. She got in the ring. She took out Raquel and Candice with kendo stick shots. And that was that. And I was left at the end of this segment feeling the same way that I felt last week, and I feel no different about it this week, which is that this match does not need to be contested inside War Games. This is a total rush job to slap this thing together. And as a Survivor Series match, I would be fine with it. In fact, I think this should have been a traditional elimination rules match. This, to me, would fit so much better as a traditional Survivor Series elimination match. And I'm still hoping and expecting that on Monday we're going to get the announcement that we are going to get a traditional match, but it's going to be with the Wyatt Six and the Final Testament. But this should be an elimination match. This should not be a War Games match. This does not need to be contested in War Games. But I do want you to take note of something here. And this ties into what I was talking about earlier as far as Bayley is concerned. When this was over, Rhea, Naomi, all the baby faces are in the ring, and they're everyone's celebrating and they're staring down the heels. Bayley is by herself, kind of crouched down in the corner, looking at the baby faces, looking at Rhea and everybody else, and had that look on her face like, again, she's feeling left out. And then you realize there's a spot open now in War Games. She wants that spot, which is why I think she's the prime candidate to be the one revealed as the attacker for Jade Cargill. She took Jade out so she can take her spot in War Games. We're going to get the announcement next week. Bayley is going to take her spot. She's going to lobby for it. She's going to want it, and she's probably going to get it. But again, she had a look on her face like, man, she just feels left out and wants in. That's her ticket in. This segment right here, it just solidified it for me. You know, killing off one of their team members would be one way for her to steal the spot. Just makes sense. Montez Ford and Tommaso Ciampa. Speaking of killing, these guys were killing each other out there. Speaking of something rarer than a Bigfoot sighting, I mentioned Giovanni Vinci earlier. You can also throw in a Montez Ford singles match onto that list. We don't get to see too many of those. Hopefully we get to see more of them. I thought this was good for the time that it lasted. And I'm liking the attitude that both these men have developed over the last several weeks. Ciampa has been unhinged. He's been a madman. Very Ciampa-esque from the black and gold era. His obsession with Goldie. His Goldie now is the tag team titles. He wants his rematch. He wants his belt back. And he is just going around kicking everybody's ass. He's shoving his own partner down. Montez Ford has also been showing a little bit of an attitude. Him and Dawkins, both. And I like it. I want to see more of this. Everybody is pissed off at each other. Good. Good. They should be. Inject a little bit of life into this previously lifeless tag team division on this show. Everybody except Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano's still going around doing the, oh, hi, guys, the nice guy. Oh, hi, guys. He'll come around. Ciampa set up for a fairy tale ending. Montez Ford countered with a knee. Ford then came off the ropes with a springboard move, and Ciampa caught him in midair, blasted him in the face with a knee strike. He timed it perfectly, got a big reaction. And then Ciampa set up for the fairy tale ending again. Ford, though, backdropped his way out of the move. He dropped down, he fell forward and hooked Ciampa's legs forward, and he got the pin. After the match, Ciampa attacked Ford. That brought out Angelo Dawkins, who started running wild on Tommaso Ciampa. That then brought out Johnny Gargano, who tried to restrain Angelo Dawkins, and Ciampa then cheap-shotted Dawkins. Ciampa then shoved Gargano, his own partner, yet again, second week in a row. He shoved Gargano down on his ass. And he's standing over Gargano, and he's He's saying something to him. Now the Motor City Machine Guns run out. Ciampa was already out of the ring by the time Shelley and Sabin hit the ring. And you could hear Ciampa as he was leaving, he was saying, whose team are you on? He was referring to Gargano. Whose team are you on? Whose team are you on? These three teams right here are giving this division a kick in the ass that it sorely needs. I don't think they are splitting up DIY. I do think that in the end of all this, Gargano will come around to Ciampa's way of thinking, whether that turns them heel or just gives them more of an attitude, just like the Profits have more of an attitude. I don't know. But the worst thing you could do right now is split up DIY. I just think it would be horrible, more so for Gargano than Ciampa, but I think it would be bad for both of them. And it would be bad for the tag team division. Cannot afford to be splitting up teams right now. As much as I'd love to see Montez Ford go single, let him have some singles matches. You could do that without breaking up the Street Profits. I think for the time being, we don't need anybody splitting. But Gargano eventually will see things the way that Ciampa sees them. And I think that when that happens, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. I don't think they can drag that out for too much longer. They closed the show with the two bloodlines. Solo Sikoa's crew was out to the ring first. He was looking for Roman Reigns to acknowledge him. But before he could even say a word, Roman's crew made their way out. So they got into the ring, and it's 5-on-4. Right? Roman's team, we know, is one man short. Tama Tonga was all fired up. He was making all kinds of noises, and not those usual, weird noises that he makes, but he's just all fired up. And Solo Sikoa it's like he motioned to him, like, calm down. And then he finally calmed down a little bit. So Solo told Roman, look, I'm not here to fight you. Said, as a matter of fact, I still love you. He still loves all four of them. He never stopped. He loves them all. But he wants him to understand something. If the four of them join his bloodline, they could run this company for decades. How'd that work out for the NWO when you had all those members? Didn't work out too well for them, did it? Yeah. We don't need some large super Samoan faction. Samoan/Tongan. We have enough here, separately. He said they could dominate for decades, though. They could run this company for decades if they do. Because also, look, you don't have a fifth man. They don't have a wise man, and they don't have no choice. So surrender yourself, join his team, he says, or the four of them will die where they stand. Solo then hands the mic over to Roman Reigns, dangling the microphone upside down. Roman takes the mic from him. And Roman lifts the mic up, and he's about to say something when all of a sudden we hear, ladies and gentlemen. And everybody in the arena goes crazy. Out walks Paul Heyman for the first time since he was powerbombed through an announce table in June at Madison Square Garden. Paul Heyman walks out, and he is wearing black, which is a very slimming color. Maybe not for Heyman, but it is a very slimming color. He's out there in a black suit. He's got a red shirt underneath. I don't even think it was a dress shirt. Just like a red fucking t-shirt. I don't know what it was, but he had a red shirt on underneath. And I swear to God, the first thing I thought of when I saw him walk out looking like that, if you remember, if you get the reference, Paul Bear. The night that Paul Bear returned and brought Kane back with him in 2000. That's what he looked like here. I think he was wearing the same colors, but it might have been in reverse, because I think Paul's suit might have been red and he had a black shirt underneath. So the colors may have been reversed, but I don't know. Him walking out there was just something about it that reminded me of Paul Bear when he came back that night. But this is not Paul Bear. This is Paul Heyman. And Heyman said, my name is Paul Heyman. He said, the 5-on-4 math for War Games just doesn't compute for the wise man. So it's not going to be 4 versus 5. He said it's going to be 5 versus 5. And he pointed to the entranceway. And the thought did cross my mind that we were going to hear Brock Lesnar's music. I think I didn't really think it was going to be him, but in that moment, you don't know what they're going to do. They're going to swerve us. Is it going to be, Lesnar's going to come out? Or is it going to be Punk? It's not going to be Rollins, right? So who else could it possibly be if not Punk or maybe Brock? Well, we hear Punk of Personality. We hear Cult of Personality, and out walks CM Punk. And the people in the arena lose their mind. Now, Punk walks out. He's already taping his fists as he marches right past Heyman. Heyman just sort of stepped aside for him. He's taping up his fists. He walks down to the ring, slides in, and the fight is on. The OG Bloodline, they quickly took care of business. The Usos and Sami Zayn, they flew out of the ring with stereo dives. They took out Solo, Fatu, and Bronson Reed on the floor. Punk and Roman, then they landed a GTS and a spear, respectively, to Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Reigns and Punk, then, they go face-to-face, and Paul Heyman is standing out on the apron, and he's got the biggest grin on his face. And Reigns, you could see he mouthed to CM Punk. He goes, "What are you doing here?" And Punk says, "I'm saving your ass." And then he pointed to Paul Heyman. And that's important because there's going to be some people who are going to ask the question, and it's a fair question. What's in it for CM Punk? Why would Punk agree to come back and team with Roman Reigns? Like, what's in it for him? What's the incentive that he has to come back and do this? But the key here was Punk pointed over at Paul Heyman. He's pointing at Paul Heyman as if to say, I'm doing this for him. I'm not doing this for you. Because Punk doesn't care about Roman Reigns. Punk doesn't even like Roman Reigns. Remember the whole needle mover thing before Punk came back, right? There's definite history there that they could draw upon for an eventual match. He's not doing this for Roman Reigns. He has a history with Paul Heyman. They're still friends. Paul was someone who stuck up for him and stood up for him in the early days in WWE. Punk could have been fired had Punk not stood up for, had Heyman not stood up for Punk. Of course, Heyman managed him for a while, so they're friends. This is a favor to a friend. That's all this is. And so when he pointed at Heyman, that's what I got out of that. That's all the explanation you need. It's a favor for a friend. So all the OG members now are in the ring. They're all looking at Punk. Punk is standing there looking back at them. Heyman standing on the apron behind them smiling. And that is how the show went off the air. This was a hell of an ending to this show. I don't know what else Heyman could have promised him in storyline to convince him to fight in War Games if you're looking for something more than just a favor to a friend. There really isn't anything else because it's not as if Roman is still the champion and Heyman promised him a shot at the title. There is no title, and they're on separate shows anyway. Although I guess when Roman was the champion, he was the unified champion. But yeah, we have the World Heavyweight title now on Raw. They're on separate brands. So it wouldn't make any sense anyway. There's nothing else that Heyman could offer him except, hey, I need you. I need you to do me this favor. I'm calling in a favor. One person who is not going to be very happy about this, though, is Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins said in no uncertain terms, I don't want to stand with Roman Reigns. I will never stand with Roman Reigns. I want to stomp his head. He can't do it. He rejected the offer. It was offered. The spot was offered to him. And multiple times Seth Rollins said no. So honestly, he should not be upset. He had the chance and he turned it down. But of course, he will be upset. And it'll be one more reason for Rollins to resent CM Punk. After all you need to do is look back at that segment on Raw Monday night in the back when Sami Zayn tried to convince him. Sami and Jimmy and Jay went back to Rollins and said, look, we have differences with Roman Reigns and we put them aside. You could do the same thing for one night. And what did Rollins tell them? This was just a few days ago. Rollins told them, I would team with you guys. I would have no problem forgiving you and teaming with the three of you guys. I cannot do that with Roman Reigns. I cannot bring myself to be in a position where I could help him win and potentially put more power back into this man's hands. This is a man that he referred to as a tyrant. That was his rationale for not stepping in there and, agreeing to be their partner in War Games. as if he's looking out for the greater good. So now CM Punk steps in. CM Punk doesn't give a fuck about the greater good. CM Punk is doing a favor for a friend. Well, Punk is now in the position of potentially helping Roman Reigns win and therefore putting more power back into the hands of a man that Seth Rollins is calling a tyrant. So yes, Seth Rollins will have even more reason now to be upset with CM Punk and blame CM Punk if that's what ends up happening. Because in his mind, Punk doesn't give a shit about the bigger picture. Punk only cares about himself and his friends because he's selfish. You could already see the promos with Punk and Rollins, right? You could play it out in your own head. So this is just another shot being fired off, I think, in the inevitable WrestleMania program that Rollins and Punk are going to have. Look, Seth's motives here may be noble, but he hates Roman Reigns, who the fans now love. He despises CM Punk, who the fans love. I don't care how noble his intentions may be, the greater good, doing the right thing. If and when he and Punk start feuding, the fans are going to side, I think, majority-wise, the fans are going to side with CM Punk. You could say, well, how is Rollins the bad guy in this, right? Because he's saying all the right things and you can understand his intention. Well, why is Kevin Owens the bad guy? Even before he gave Randy Orton a pile driver, why is Kevin Owens the bad guy? Same thing there. He's not wrong in what he said about Cody Rhodes, yet the fans cheer for Cody and they boo KO. It doesn't matter. The fans are the heels. I thought we already established this. Because we were having a little bit of a discussion on the stream on Monday about this. I said that Seth Rollins should turn heel if somebody has to go heel, if it's him and Punk. And some people disagreed and said, no, it doesn't make any sense. Why would Rollins be the one to go heel? No, it makes all the sense in the world. That, and I'm just sick of him as a babyface, dancing around like a clown. But it doesn't matter how noble he is. If the fans like you, like they like CM Punk and they like Roman Reigns, they're going to cheer for them and they're going to boo you. And that's just the way that it is. Because for whatever reason, they like these guys. And if you don't like them, then they don't like you. So I think Rollins will probably end up being the heel in all this. This now gets CM Punk on the Survivor Series card. The very event where he came back a year ago. Makes sense for him to be there, but why wouldn't you have him on the show? It is wild to think, though, that the last match that we saw CM Punk in was a Hell in a Cell match where he bled and they beat the fucking shit out of each other. He showed up on Raw the following Monday. He was limping around. He had bandages all over his body. His arm was in a sling, I think. He took a beating. Right? He hasn't been seen since. And so now the very next match that CM Punk is coming back in is another cage match, this time with 2 rings and 8 extra bodies inside. So he's just going right from one to the next. I still think, though, that it would have been cool to save the moment of Heyman coming back and Heyman introducing the 5th man for Vancouver. Like the night of. Like you have Roman's team go in the night of down a man. Like what are they going to do? And then they surprise you by having Heyman show up with the 5th man. I understand why they did it this way. I get it. It gets a lot of people talking now. It gets a lot of people even more excited. You would think heading into Survivor Series. What happens in War Games, though, is going to have WrestleMania implications. And something else I didn't mention here, but now this plants a seed for an eventual match between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I mean, let's see what happens next Saturday and how they coexist and if they can get along. But that's another money match that's never been done this go around. I guess Roman and Punk would have worked together at the end of Punk's first run, but that was so many years ago. It's like a lifetime ago. This version of Roman Reigns didn't exist back then. So we've not seen Reigns and Punk, and that's going to be a huge match down the road too. I don't think they're going to want to go to it anytime soon. But this is where the kind of the beginning of that story could kick off, depending on whether or not their team wins or loses. So you could set that up for the future. is the reason that they did not want to wait until Survivor Series because they have something else planned for the end of the show. The only thing that I could possibly think of, if they're setting up for something even bigger, it's The Rock. That would be the only thing that would be bigger than this, would be The Rock showing up and doing something. He showed up at the end of Bad Blood, right? He showed up at the end of their last show prior to, I guess we had the Saudi show, but the one before that. Who's to say he doesn't show up again here at the end of War Games and does something? Tips his cat to, you know, where his story is going to go. Is he with Solo's bloodline? Is he going to help them win War Games? Has he been the puppet master all along, right? It's always possible they're setting up for something even bigger at the end of that show. But we shall see. This will certainly get a lot of people excited now heading into War Games. Excellent ending to the show. Love the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens segment. Wrestling-wise, not a whole lot to really get excited about here. Most of it was really just to forward certain story. Even the Montez Ford Tommaso Ciampa match. Match-wise, that probably would get my vote for best match on the show. The women's U.S. title match was okay. I didn't think it was better than Ciampa and Ford, but even Ciampa and Ford, was really just sort of there to get to what we saw at the end of that match. But that's fine. Not a wrestling heavy show in that regard that, I would point to and say, hey, that's the match of the week. But they had enough going on here to hold my interest, and I thought it was a good episode. So we got one more week of shows left. We have one Raw, which I believe is live next week, and then one SmackDown, which is not, and has already been taped. So just be aware of that if you're sensitive to spoilers. They will be out there over the next week. So it's a little strange because the Go Home SmackDown, the final show before Survivor Series, is already in the can, and we still have a live Raw coming up on Monday. So it's just, every time they do this, it's just a weird thing. But again, they're doing that so that, they can get off on the road for the holidays, which I think is great. Certainly no complaints as far as that goes. Let's take a look at the Twitter poll. What did you think of SmackDown tonight? Oh my goodness. 93.2% thumbs up. 6.8% thumbs down. That is quite the difference from the poll that I had put up on Wednesday. Quite the difference. Get those votes in at Solomonster. Oh my God, this guy. This guy's going to be the death of me, I swear. I swear. Fuck that tree. Hey, we beat the goal. We beat the goal. We haven't even gotten to the Super Chats yet. Always love to see that. Thank you guys. Let's run up the score here. Let's get those likes up even more. Let's see if we can hit 500 likes before we get out of here. But we will be doing Be the Booker in a little bit. Ugh. A douche chill just went up my spine. Thank you, Alex, for Bree mode. The Paul Heyman effect. So Paul Heyman, huh? Paul Heyman bringing in the numbers, Paul Heyman, huh? Okay. Think you're giving him a little too much credit there, but hey, look, he was the cliffhanger last week. That's how the last week's show ended. So maybe it was Paul Heyman. I mean, we'll see, I guess, when the ratings come in. The real CS.
Look, everyone, it's Samoa BRO.
And Samoa BRO kicking us off. Tough Enough Season 1 co-winner Maven. You could have just said Maven, by the way. I know who he is. Maven is teasing a potential WWE return. His latest video ended with him going into the Performance Center. Maybe they're bringing him in to coach for a day. I actually think Maven would be a pretty cool analyst, like on their pre-shows. I think he would do well in that role. Josh Carlos with a couple of super chats. More bloody match, or bloodier match. JBL against Eddie Guerrero, or John Cena against JBL, both from the Judgment Day pay-per-views. I gotta go Eddie and JBL. I mean, Cena was pretty disgusting by the time that match was over, but I gotta go Eddie and JBL. It's been a long time since I've seen the Cena match, though. Eddie and JBL, though, it looked like a crime scene.
Shut the fuck up.
Blood everywhere, just drenched into the mat. Eddie hit an artery that night. Fuck that tree. Maybe Cena did too. Because he looked, I mean, he was covered. Oh, the Judgment Day. That's got to be Ian. I can't even see right now. It's got to be Ian. Also, better match. Undertaker Batista WrestleMania 23 or Rhea Ripley and... I almost said Ric Flair. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair WrestleMania 39. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair WrestleMania 39. It gets my vote. Holiday 197. Hey Solo, what are your thoughts on a tag team Royal Rumble match? A team is eliminated when both partners go over the top rope and both feet touch the floor. I'm not a fan. We've had tag team battle royals before like that. I don't think you need a Royal Rumble. I don't think that they have the teams to really support anything big like that, especially if you're going to do it on like a PLE. I mean, when are you going to do it? If you're going to do a Royal Rumble match, you can't do it on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's no room for it. If you're going to do it on TV, just do a regular battle royal. Like, there's no need to do the drawn out entrances and everything. I don't have any interest in seeing that. That doesn't excite me. You got to excite me. Jerome Eugenio, in honor of Survivor Series, what is your favorite traditional Survivor Series match? I mean, I got a bunch of matches that I like. I've watched some of them this week. In fact, the WWE Vault channel on YouTube has uploaded a bunch of Survivor Series matches. Today, by the way, they uploaded a rare one. They uploaded one from 1996 from the Free For All pre-show, which I don't think you could find anywhere because I don't think they include that kind of stuff on Peacock, like the pre-show stuff. So it's got like Aldo Montoya and the Sultan and Crush, or maybe not Crush, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, Billy and Bart. Sonny is on commentary, I think, for... is it for that match or the opening match on the show? Because they uploaded both of them today. But anyway, if you want to go check that out, it's up on the Vault channel right now. For me, though, I was a fan of the Grand Survival concept from 1990. But as far as 1990... like elimination matches, honestly, like the one where the Undertaker debuted and it came down to Bret Hart and DiBiase. I like that one, especially the end. The one with Hogan, Jake, and Demolition against DiBiase, Zeus, and the Powers of Pain from '89 is another one. Team Bischoff against Team Austin from 2003. That might have been the last truly great Survivor Series elimination match. And I enjoyed the wildcard match, which was kind of a novel concept at the time, and they only did one of them, but that was in 95. So off the top of my head, those are the ones that stand out. There might be some others, but those are the ones I would name right now. Prince Zuko 97. Makes perfect sense for Punk to join Team OG. He may not give a damn about Roman and friends, but Solo and friends put Paulie through a table in Madison Square Garden. Great point. That's also a great point. Not only is he doing a favor to Heyman, but he saw what they did to Paul, who's a friend of his, and he said, well, if you're going to do that to a friend of mine, I'm going to fuck you up. It's a very good point. Absolutely. You know what I miss about those old Survivor Series matches, like back in the late 80s and the early 90s? The names. Everyone got team names. So you had the $1 million team, and you had the Vipers and the Visionaries, and oh god, Piper had a team one year. It was like Roddy. I forgot the fucking name of the team, but some of the team names were just garbage, but some of them were actually pretty cool. and they just dropped it after a while. You know, it's one of those things I wish they would have kept doing. Ragnarok, am I tripping, or did Cody not refute anything that KO hit him with on the mic? Cody joins the No Accountability alumni with Rhea and Seth. Well, I mean, he did address teaming with Roman. I mean, he kind of addressed it, but he didn't really have a good answer for it. So, yes. That's why I said Kevin Owens was not wrong. Like, there were, like, CM Punk came out on Dynamite or Collision or whatever it was when he returned, and he said, tell me when I'm telling lies. Same thing with Kevin Owens. Tell me when I'm telling lies. There really were no lies in what he said. We got Rabid Wolverines. LC says, me. Oh my God, they killed Jade Cargill. My friend, you bastard. South Park for the win. Mr. Rod with the 10 spot. Whatever happened tonight, I'll take it over whatever that shit show was that AEW gave us on Wednesday. Yeah, that was a terrible show. Nightmare Knee with the $20 super chat. Apparently WWE or AEW needs to hire you for booking because you're darn near clairvoyant. Rest in peace to your mom. I lost my mom when I was 10. Keep up the good work, my friend. Well, thank you, Nightmare Knee. I appreciate that. JDF renewing his channel membership and gifting a membership to Juan Salazar. Thank you, JDF, and welcome, Juan. Welcome to the club. George freaking Seckman. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Well, if you throw them really far, technically they can. DEH Sires, I got the feeling that Triple H is going to run back that Dakota heel turn angle at War Games with Bayley, since she did not get picked in the beginning, if Bayley joins. Oh, she's joining. And as far as doing the Dakota Kai thing, oh, so I mean, you mean like literally, like by the cages, or like once they're in the ring? Because Dakota, she came out of her pod or her cage or whatever, and then she immediately kicked Tegan Nox in the face. Like, the way they did that was incredible. And Mauro Ranallo on commentary, the way he sold it was incredible, because Mauro was great. And they could use somebody like... Actually, AEW could use him more than WWE could. But, yeah, I could see it. I could see it, but I'd be shocked if Bayley doesn't get that spot now in the War Games match. Mr. Rod, when it comes to all-time fumbles, Wardlow, Camille, and Chad Gable will be top 3, hands down. All-time? Camille ain't that good. You're giving Camille more credit than you should be. You're talking all-time fumbles? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about putting Camille in all-time territory. Look, they fumbled the ball with her for sure, but let's not pretend that she's, you know, in that elite category. She's not. NWL Matt, the villain who wronged Drew is back and is with OTC. It should have been Solomonster as the 5th man. Now, brother, I'll be right here reviewing the pay-per-view next weekend. Hey, Uffman, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate it. We got 5 new channel members thanks to Uffman. Jimmy White, wild idea. Tiffany cashes in Money in the Bank at the end of the Women's War Games match. 2 weakened and vulnerable champions to cash in on. What are your thoughts? It's a great point. Liv Morgan and Nia Jax are both going to be in War Games. There's no rule saying that you can't cash in even during War Games, let alone when the match is over. I just want her to cash in. I would love it if she cashed in next weekend. So yes, I'm in favor of that idea. As far as which champion she cashes in on, it's got to be Nia Jax. Prince Vegeta 95. Worst track record, Chad Gable or Nakamura? Both guys are clowns. They're both Wile E. Coyote in their feuds. It's a hard one because Gable doesn't win and Nakamura doesn't win. But Nakamura at least has had singles championships. He's had more success on the main roster than Gable has. So Gable is the bigger clown. NWO Matt, Kevin Owens did nothing wrong. It is all Cody's fault. I'll tell you what, though, if they do that match at Survivor Series in Canada, Cody will be the heel in that match. Maybe that's why they don't want to do it, but I hope they do. I hope they do the first match there. Fire Panda with a $50 super chat. Look in my eyes, what do you see? I am the learning tree. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the $50. I was going to say Gunther bomb, but that didn't come in as Gunther, did it? I wonder if something got screwed up. I'll have to check on that. Jeremy Rose, but Fire Panda, man, thank you. I gotta give Fire Panda some extra love here. Jeremy Rose with the $15. Punk is a much better addition to War Games than Rollins would have been. Makes you wonder if Paul is back with Punk because Roman never checked on him after Solo's crew destroyed him. Well, I mean, he's not against Roman because he's doing Roman a favor as much as he is anything else because he's providing him with that fifth man that he needed. But it'll be interesting, I think, coming out of War Games to see if he not only is still aligned with Roman, is he aligned with Roman and Punk? Does he cut time between Raw and SmackDown? I don't know. I mean, it's not like Punk needs Heyman, but there's just something about the two of them being together that just feels right because they were such a good combo. I mean, there were guys that Bobby Heenan back in the day managed, and it's not like they all needed, him necessarily to be there doing the talking for them, whether it be Mr. Perfect or Rick Rude, but they just were such great combos. They just work so well together, right? It's not always just about the whole, mouthpiece stuff. Punk doesn't need a mouthpiece. Punk doesn't need a manager, but him and Heyman together, I don't think they're going to be together, but that would be kind of cool. Base Beerus, God of Seduction, with the $23 super chat. Yeah, the Gunther thing, it's got to be a glitch. I'll check it out when we're done here. Something probably got screwed up because it's still there, but it triggered the other one, which is also pretty cool, by the way. I love that one. Is there a bigger match than Punk against Rock at WrestleMania? Rock against Roman? Will Punk and Rock ever interact again? Thank you, Tribal Chief. I can't say they won't interact in a segment on TV, but are they going to interact because they're going to feud or have a match? No, that ship has sailed. Punk and Rock are not. They're not working against each other. Is Punk against Rock the bigger match at WrestleMania? No, Rock and Roman is the bigger match. Jeremy Rose would not be mad if Kevin Owens wins the belt from Cody. You and me both. That's what I called for 2 weeks ago. Nick Grasso with the $9.99. If you're right about Bayley, does she turn at Survivor Series and cost her team? Bayley should be a Kevin Owens type of heel who feels she is right because Damage Control are being treated like heroes and people still villainize her. Well, I mean, when you say people, the answer is, you mean person. The answer is Bianca Belair. I mean, who else is villainizing Bayley? It's really just Bianca. Bianca just doesn't like her because Bayley made her life a living hell, which is true. She did. Does she cost the team? I really feel like that's going to depend on whether or not the OG bloodline goes over in the main event. I don't think they're going to want two heel teams going over. I really feel like if you have one heel team go over, then the baby faces win in the other match. And without getting into my predictions, I'm not convinced that the OGs are necessarily going to win. So I think that might sort of dictate who goes over. at Survivor Series. I just don't see them putting both heel teams over. But then again, I mean, Triple H put Gunther and Nia Jax over as King and Queen of the Ring back in May, so who knows? Super Pony, if Kevin Owens never gets another title run, Triple H is a clown. Well, okay then. I told you, I would put the belt on Kevin Owens, even if it's only for a little while. Why not? Why not? Why not? Why does Cody have to hold on to the title for a full year? Why does Cody have to hold on to the championship until WrestleMania? Even if you want him to be the champion at WrestleMania. Who's to say he can't lose it now and then win it back at the Royal Rumble? Or they're going to be doing another Saturday night's main event at the end of January, supposedly. January 25th. Do it there. Joshua Hughes with the $4.99. I guess Cody is playing second fiddle behind Roman. Cody has not been closing out SmackDown since Roman came back because War Games is the main event at Survivor Series. Cody doesn't even have a match right now at Survivor Series, so why should he be closing the show? Right? I mean, it doesn't make sense. But everything is built around the bloodline. Everything is built around War Games right now. And I knew this is what was going to happen. But if that's your main event and that's your top storyline right now on SmackDown, it's really the top storyline on either show right now, then they should be closing the show. I mean, look at what they did tonight. Are you going to not close the show with the CM Punk return? Like, come on. Come on. J.R. Vischer, honored to share a birthday with Scarlett Johansson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Mark Ruffalo, Mads Mikkelsen, Rodney Dangerfield, and most of all, Mama Monster. That's very cool. And happy birthday, JR. I hope you had a very, very good birthday. Base Beerus says, literally listened to Brick House yesterday. Well, you don't have to listen to it. You could just listen to me singing it. Poorly, but you can listen to me singing it. Alex with the 25, Brother Solo. An excellent episode of SmackDown and an excellent review as always, with SmackDown producing two incredible programs between the Bloodline and the Cody and KO stuff. How much pressure will Raw be under when they switch to Netflix? I don't know that it's pressure. It's going to be all hands on deck for Raw. You're going to have stars from Raw and SmackDown. You're going to have the Bloodline on there. Everybody is going to be on at least those first few Raws on Netflix. They're going to be putting a lot of muscle behind Raw at the beginning of the year. So I'm not worried about Raw at all as far as that goes, because they know what's riding on that, and they're going to want to make a great first impression. And you're going to see a lot of star power on that show, including John Cena, by the way. John Cena is going to be kicking off his year. He's going to be on Raw. Rock may be there. Punk will be there. Roman will be there. They're all going to be there. Cody. Jeremy Rose says, hoping we get our first ever War Games cash-in by Tiffany. Ripley knocks out Nia, and Tiffany, who bought the briefcase into the cage, or brought it into the cage, cashes in. I hope so. They love firsts. We've had, Rollins was the first to cash in at a WrestleMania. This would be a first time ever cash in if they do that, because we've never seen that before. Base Beerus says Disco Inferno was over. No, Disco Inferno was not over. Disco Inferno's music was over. Game Tourney Forever with the 1999. My son asked about Sheamus after his promo on Braun Breakers, so we watched him and Cena at TLC 2009. What were your thoughts when Sheamus beat Cena back in 2009 for the belt when Cena was in his prime? Folks looked shocked. I was shocked. I think I don't remember if I thought maybe it was a botch at first. But I was surprised. And I don't recall having an issue with it. I think that was during that period where it was kind of super Cena all the time with everything. So it was kind of nice to break things up a little bit. I was surprised. I mean, Sheamus was still very, very new. and it's not anything that I really expected. So the shock of it, I think, was kind of fun because it just came out of left field. That's why you saw all those shocked faces. Powerful One with the $10 super chat. Powerful One, thank you. Punk is probably the only guy who doesn't have heat with the OG bloodline. He's actually cool with at least half of them. Cool with Jay and Sammy, and of course he would run through a wall for Heyman. Yeah, but it doesn't matter because Roman is the one who's leading the charge. So that's going to be the thing to watch. Doesn't matter if he's friendly with all the guys underneath. You know, when Jay agreed to team with Roman, he said, as long as you treat us all as equals. But let's be honest, they're not all equals. So the only thing that matters is how do Punk and Roman get along. Kevin, happy birthday, Mama Monster. Thank you, Kevin. Justin G says, we love Mama Monster and, of course, Solo, the Chief. Justin with a gifted membership also to Alex Reed. Thank you, Justin. And welcome to Alex. George freaking Seckman back with a $12 learning tree. They could always add Kyrie instead of Bayley. Bayley just did not want to face Jade in the US title tournament, and she doesn't join War Games to keep healthy for the tournament. Possible, and then maybe Bayley wants the spot, doesn't get it, and is even more resentful because of it. But I still feel it's going to probably end up being Bayley. But somebody mentioned Dakota a little while ago. You want to repeat the Dakota Kai heel turn? You could repeat the Dakota Kai heel turn with Dakota Kai. Ian Noel with the $32 super chat. Punk against Rollins at WrestleMania does not need the championship, but this is a nice way to add fuel to their feud. That said, after Survivor Series, we are on the way to the Royal Rumble. At this point, who do you see winning the Royal Rumbles, and who do they face? It's too early. It's just too early to tell. I still think Cena is probably the favorite for the men's Rumble right now. The women's Rumble, Charlotte Flair is going to be back soon, and that could just throw a wrench into the entire thing, because it could easily be Charlotte. If Tiffany cashes in Money in the Bank at War Games and wins, and she cashes in on Nia, I still think the match at WrestleMania is Charlotte and Tiffany for the title, so then Charlotte would probably win the Royal Rumble. I know some people don't want to hear it, but
it should be The Rock in there with Roman Reigns. Oh, you Cody fans, you
there it is
ruined it.
again.
You ruined it.
Deal with it. Dakota is the only Samoan not in the bloodline in WWE. Is Dakota Kai? Dakota Kai is Samoan. And by the way, that's wrong because Nia Jax is there. But are you telling me that Dakota Kai is Samoan or part Samoan? Base Beerus, would a Eugene heel turn have worked? Yes, if you dropped the entire gimmick. I think it could have worked. And he was a good worker, too. Toby has renewed his membership for 26 months. Did someone say hospital? On the show, I believe they did, yes. Oh, so Dakota Kai is Samoan. See, that I didn't know. Half Samoan. I did not know that. Powerful One, happy birthday, Mama Monster. Rest in peace, and God bless your boys. Thank you, Powerful One. She was always just tickled fancy whenever I would tell her that I would get messages from people who were mentioning her or who enjoyed, you know, the episode that we did together. She just thought that was the coolest thing. Base Beerus says, did you see the perfect flex on Big Show? I did. It was very impressive. Perfect flex on Big Show was very impressive, and the spot where Perfect saved Chris Jericho's life on a lion salt in WCW. It goes around sometimes on social media, but that's one that I always just look at with awe, because that could have gone badly so quickly. So quickly. The Mount Burning Kid, Christopher Bennett. Hey, Solo, happy birthday to your mom. I know losing her still hurts. I know the feeling. My mother has been gone for 29 years. It does not get easier. God bless. Thank you. Thank you, Christopher. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, when you're part of that club, I mean, everyone's experience is different, but there are, I think, some common threads that I hear from other people who have gone through it, and it's always one of those situations where it's like, it doesn't matter how many years go by. Does it get easier? It does. It does get easier a little bit, but it never goes away. And then you have those moments where you'll have some good news to share. Maybe you got a promotion at work, or a pay raise, or you're getting married, or whatever it may be. And the first thing that you think to do is to kind of reach out, right? Send a text or pick up the phone and call. And then you realize you can't do that. And it doesn't matter how many years go by. It just kind of hits you all over again, like day one. And that sucks. But I think anybody who has lost, and it could be a parent, it could be a friend, it could be some other family member you were close to. Everybody, I think, can relate to that. I feel it. And it sucks. It's a shitty feeling. And that never goes away. So, and it's a shitty club to be a part of. But here we are. Tiger Tragic. Interestingly, WWE titled the Cody and KO segment Rhodes Challenges Owens to a match at Saturday night's main event. Could they be avoiding Cody getting booed in Canada? Yes, they could be. See, for me though, I would still do it, but yes, I could see them not wanting Cody to get in there and get anything other than cheered. Uffman, thank you again for those 5 gifted memberships, brother. I appreciate it very much. Grant Hudson with the birthday love from Mama Monster. Love the emojis. Thank you, brother. Christopher Bennett, I'm surprised Cody did not mention Owens, or did not mention to Owens. Sammy is with Roman. Is he going to attack him too? Yeah, that is kind of a plot point there to keep in mind, where Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are best friends, and Sami Zayn is back teaming with Roman Reigns, and Kevin Owens has not said anything about that. You know, and I get that Sami is in a different program and he's doing his thing and Kevin is doing his, but still, to not even reference it, yeah, that is weird. That is a little weird. Makes me wonder, though, now that you bring it up, if maybe there's an ulterior motive for Sami agreeing to be part of this War Games match. Might Sami Zayn betray Roman Reigns and end up aligning back with Kevin Owens? Maybe he's infiltrating to cost Roman Reigns the match because he's never forgiven him. It's not like Roman gave him what he wanted. He asked for something very simple. He just wanted Roman to apologize to Jey Uso, and he couldn't even do that. And then out of nowhere, he just agreed to be his partner. Why is that? Is there something going on with Sami Zayn? Just something to think about. CJ LaChapelle, what would you think if Bayley wins the Royal Rumble for the 2nd year in a row? I would not be in favor of that. I know CJ's a big Bayley fan. Not hating on her, but that doesn't interest me at all. I'd rather there be a different winner. And when I say different, I'm not talking Charlotte Flair either. I mean a different winner. I would have gone with Io Sky. Io is already #1 contender for the championship with Liv Morgan, so that tells me it's probably not going to be Io Sky. I kind of wish it would be. If they really wanted to make a splash, I don't know if she's going to be contractually free by this point, but Jordynne Grace's contract with TNA is up early next year. And I think that she's coming to WWE. I think that they should put her immediately on the main roster. And what a debut for her if she were to... Well, it wouldn't be her Rumble debut because she's already been in the Rumble. But if she was in the Rumble and won. Can you imagine that? Debuts in the Royal Rumble and wins. And then she gets to pick the champion that she faces at WrestleMania. And if Rhea Ripley gets that title back from Liv Morgan before then, which she should, we could potentially have a Rhea Ripley, Jordan Grace championship match at WrestleMania next year. She was one of the highlights, honestly, if not the highlight of the Women's Rumble this year. She was in there and she was kicking ass. Powerful one. Will be at Raw in Phoenix this Monday, hoping for an awesome go-home show for Survivor Series. I am too. I need a good go-home show after this week. Base Beerus, Sheamus' first title win was a horrible botch. Fire Panda with another $50 super chat bomb. Oh my goodness. So I got a halter monitor today and I have to wear it all weekend. They want to make sure everything is good with my heart because of my health issues. Energy has been up these past few days, so it's nice to actually be around for a stream. Yeah, you mentioned to me that you were going through some blood pressure stuff or testing on social media, so you scared me a little bit there. Hopefully everything is going to be just fine, but you just got to make sure that your health is okay. That's the most important thing. But Fire Panda, I appreciate the love. That's the second $50 bomb here on this stream. You got to stay healthy. We need you around. Super Pony, better reason for turning heel, Kevin Owens or Drew McIntyre? They both have sound logic. I would say, man, I gotta go KO, honestly, because he spent so long feuding with the Bloodline. He had like 3 different matches with Roman Reigns. Screwed over every time. Partners up with Cody. I'm gonna watch your back, right? Me and Randy, we're gonna watch your back. And then to see Cody team up with this guy, I can completely understand why he would be so bitter and why he would feel the way he feels. Drew McIntyre just had the 1 match with Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens had 3. Nick Grasso with the $9.99. I'm going to go outside the box, and it might sound lame, but Shotzi is coming back soon from a knee injury and is supposed to come back with an American Psycho gimmick. So maybe she is the attacker. Yeah, that would be lame. Where are you hearing this about this American Psycho gimmick? I mean, where are you getting that from? Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, that would be lame, but I don't know where she is in terms of her recovery, if she's cleared and they're just waiting for, creative for her to come back. I don't know. I haven't heard her name mentioned recently. Retro KOH, they did a brief Eugene heel turn. In fact, did not work. Like Solo said, he needed to drop the gimmick. Yeah, the gimmick was a killer. The gimmick got him airtime on TV and it got him a little bit of a push for a while, but the gimmick was absolute fucking death. And it ruined his career. I mean, it really did. It ruined his career. That's a gimmick that you either do a turn where it was all a ruse, which would be pretty horrible if you think about it. I mean, even them doing the gimmick itself was like, in poor taste. But the only way to save your career is to just drop the whole thing and say it was all a put on and you just turn into the most evil son of a bitch in the company and go in a completely different direction, like the exact opposite of what the Eugene character was. And they didn't do it. And it went on for so long. And that was it. He was branded as Eugene for the rest of his career, and there was no escaping it. So that's what happens. Gold Matthew, before NWO formed, what was better, Raw or Nitro? Well, NWO formed in May of 96. I would say Raw. But you know what, though? Honestly, like early 96, like late 95, early 96, it was very back and forth. Late 95, I would say Nitro, because Nitro had bigger stars on there, and it was the kind of the cool kid on the block, the new kid on the block. And they had to make a splash right out of the gate. And they did. Right from the very first Nitro at the Mall of America, they made a big splash with Luger. But look at all the big names they had on the show. They had Hulk Hogan, and they had Randy Savage, and they had Ric Flair, and Lex Luger, and Sting. And then Bischoff started to introduce some of the more exciting talent. Jushin Thunder Liger, and the Luchadors, and Flying Bryan, and they had the Horsemen. And, you know, late 95 WWF compared to that. But then they would go back and forth. So it was a mix of both. Big Fat Paulie, renewing his channel membership, says, happy birthday to both of our mothers. May they both continue to rest in peace and watch over us. Yes, indeed. Big Fat Paulie, I agree with that 100%. And happy birthday to your mother as well. Base Beerus, buy or sell, Halloween or Christmas? Halloween. Oz and Glorious with the 5. Solo, I was watching the Bob Ross channel all week while working. Any chance you could live stream all 888 sound-offs back to back? Hashtag new revenue stream. I mean, are you trying to, you know, get me to just basically end it all? Yeah, sure, why not? Why not? It's not like I just push play. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. We have the very first 13 shows are up for Sound Off Legends. Fuck that tree. If you ever want to check out the first 13 shows I ever did, that's the higher tier of membership. When you gift a membership, I think it's the basic tier. Those are on the upper tier right now. George Seckman again. Remember, no stipulations for Be the Booker. Well, you said it now. I have to do the opposite of what you said just to be contrarian. So now we have to do a stipulation. See what you did? Do not pass go. Probably a long shot, but Tiffany Stratton could win the Royal Rumble and have both a title match at WrestleMania and a Money in the Bank in her back pocket. She could, but she won't. And that is completely unnecessary. So, we don't need to see that. Edward Brooks with the $12 super chat. Hey Solo, happy heavenly birthday to Mama Monster. I also lost my mom 6 years ago, shortly after yours.
I am the LeRae.
Shut the fuck up.
Timing could not be any worse than this. Fuck that tree. Look what you did, Ian. Look what you did. I always wish for one more hug. Congrats on 17 years for the Sound Off as well. Well, thank you for that, Edward. And I didn't realize that you lost your mom. That's had to be right after mine. Wow. It is hard to believe, though, isn't it? 6 years? I was thinking about that the other day. When I realized that it was going to be her 65th, and I said it was, yeah, she passed away when she was 58. I mean, so did my father. He was 58. But it's like, man, 6 years. It's... And I feel like so many of these things, like even when my father passed away, like I came on here and did the show and talked to you guys, and I feel like you guys were as much of a help to me as anything else, because it just gave me a platform to take my mind off what was going on, but also just kind of express what I was feeling. And then I heard from so many people. I got tweets and I got emails, and you don't realize how many people have gone through similar experiences. And in a way, like, you know, obviously you're not happy that other people are going through what you're going through. That's horrible. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but it is helpful just to hear from other people who have gone through it or are going through something similar, and just to know, I guess, that you're not alone in those situations in kind of a weird way. So, but thank you, Edward. Harry, thank you for getting me through my work days. I wonder what Tony Khan is thinking about Punk right now. He's thinking that he wishes things worked out differently than they did. That's exactly what he's thinking. The Winston Slip gifted a membership to Steve Mello, of all people. He gifted a membership to my boy Steve. I don't know if Steve's with us tonight, but thank you, Winston. And Ian with the $12 learning tree for a cash-in. Damian Priest almost cashed in on Seth Rollins in the War Games match last year until Randy returned. Yes, but almost doesn't count. That is true, though. I remember Rhea was literally about to hand the briefcase to the referee when they hit Orton's music. So, almost, but not quite. They almost made history. We are currently looking at 580 likes. I was hoping you guys could get me to 500 during the live stream. You guys may be able to get me to 600. How badass is that? So thank you. Let's go ahead and be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Here we go. There's no waiting tonight. We blew past this fucking 30 minutes ago. Let's get into it here. Tag team be the booker, man. We were gonna end things on a great note the other night, and then the stipulation just ruined the entire thing. But not tonight. Look at these two guys. We got the Mounties. We got the Quebecers. I call them the Mounties, but Jacques and Pierre. They're not the Mounties. They got in trouble with the Royal Mounted Canadian Police or Royal Canadian Mounted Police or whatever they are, but they got in trouble with them. And so their way of getting around it, because they weren't real Mounties and they didn't like the fact that he was calling himself the Mountie. So they recorded new music and it's like, we're not the Mounties. So he's like, see? We're not the Mounties. Sons of bitches. All right, the Quebecers. I like the Quebecers. Quebecers are going to be defending their tag team titles against these tag team champions, Ric Flair and Rowdy Roddy Piper. And we got some legends in this match. We got Jacques Rougeau, we got Roddy Piper, we got Ric Flair, Pierre, my God. PCO. Still going strong. PCO's like the modern day Terry Funk. You see the bumps this guy takes? How is he able to move? How is this man still walking? Yes, Fire Panda says it is highly illegal to impersonate the RCMP in Canada. Yeah, but they weren't in Canada most of the time. They were in the U.S. WWE could have said, go screw. We're not in Canada. All right, women's be the booker. Oh my God, look who it is. As I live and breathe. It is the Ring of Honor World Champion, Women's World Champion, Athena. I had almost forgotten what she looked like. It's been some time since I've seen this woman on my screen. Pretty sure it's in her contract that she's not allowed to appear on AEW television more than once a year, if that. But we got her here in Be the Booker. Amazing. You've now seen her more in Be the Booker on this channel than you have on AEW television all fucking year. It's pathetic. Pathetic. She's going to be defending her title against Nia Jax. How are we feeling about this? Because Nia Jax just had a really good match with Naomi last week. Nia has had more matches, more quality matches during this run this year than she had at any other point in her career. Match with Becky, the match with Rhea. How are we going to judge this? What are we going to do here? I need your feedback. You got to let me know. Are we buzzing it? Are we buzzing it? Are we ruining, we're taking away the potential clean sweep? Or are we giving it a bell? I'm kind of in the middle on this. I'm seeing Bell, I'm seeing Buzzer, I'm seeing Bell. Okay. All right. I have faith. Athena could be one of those people that gels with Nia and helps carry her to a very good match. I don't feel like Nia is so good that she can carry other people. I feel like if she's in there with the right person, they can help kind of guide her to one of her better matches. Maybe silence is golden. I shouldn't have hit anything. I should have just moved on. Eh? All right. Well, look, we gave it the bell, so hope is still alive. Now, what we're gonna do first is we're gonna pick a stipulation here, because if George didn't say anything, I wouldn't have done it. But we got to pick a stipulation now. But we're gonna pick the stipulation first. Maybe our luck will be different this way. Our main event is going to be Solomonster's choice. I can pick any stipulation that I want. Well, now, what stipulation am I going to pick? What to choose, what to choose, what to choose. I got to think about this. I have to think about this. What do I want to do here? I'm thinking that this main event, man, I wasn't expecting to have to make a decision here. I'm going to say falls count anywhere. I like me a good falls count anywhere. You can brawl out of the building if you want to. So we're going to do falls count anywhere. That's what we're going to do. We have the stipulations set for our main event here. Now we just need the people to bring it home. Let's see. We'll begin with The Big Show. God. We have The Big Show. See? Now you're happy that I got falls count anywhere as a stipulation. We don't have to get a regular match. Big Show in the main event, where he should not be. It's going to be taking on Jack Perry. Well, in the end, the stipulation didn't even matter. It did not even matter. Be the Booker. Ruined. Ruined. Big Show will kill Jack. Well, you know what? That may be, but Jack Perry's going to run around. He's going to try to avoid him. He's going to make Big Show run, which is the last thing that the Big Show needs to be doing. It wasn't bad though. We had two bells, although the second one was a little iffy. That was not Solomonster's. That was not Solomonster's choice, says Kratos. No, it was not. That was definitely not Solomonster's choice. Hey, look, it's the real life Suzuki Goon. Travis McDowell. Quebecers are an underrated tag team. My favorites of all time, though, are the Midnight Express. Well, I got Demolition. I got Demolition or the Hart Foundation. Take your pick, man. We had some badass teams back in the 80s, man. I don't know if we fully appreciated it back then. We were too young. But you had, whether you watched the NWA or you watched the AWA or you watched WWE, the Bulldogs, Heart Foundation, Demolition, Killer Bees were a pretty good team. Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, all the variations of the Horsemen that you had. God, you had the Fantastics, and you had the Freebirds, and you had the Von Erichs. Man. So many others I'm not even thinking of right now. OM Too Cool. Happy birthday, Mama Monster. Lost my dad in 2012. Was only 24. 12 years on. It never gets easy. Infinite love to you, brother, also. Says, oh, well, I guess shouting out Fire Panda as well. OM Too Cool, thank you very much. I'm sorry for your loss. That was a while ago, but again, doesn't matter how many years go by, it's not something that you forget. What's my favorite Killer Bee? Of the two? Brian Blair, just because he used to greatly upset the Iron Sheik. So I'm going to say Brian Blair. The Hollywood Blondes. The Conquistadors, of course. The Conquistadors. The Road Warriors. How can I not mention the Road Warriors? Of course. Base Beer says, is eye for an eye in Be the Booker? I think it is. I believe it is, as a stipulation. Yuri says, main event in Be the Booker was real ass, Crimea River. And Travis McDowell, favorite WWF tag team of all time, definitely Demolition, especially over LOD. Yeah, I think it just all depends on what you grew up with. If you grew up watching NWA, then it was Hawk and Animal. Or some other team, but it was not Demolition. I grew up on Demolition. I didn't know of Barry Darsow as Crusher Khrushchev. I didn't know of Bill Eadie as the Masked Superstar or anything like that. I knew them as Demolition. And they had cool face paint and they had cool costumes. I mean, I look at them now, they look like a couple of S&M dudes, but sorry, but they do. But, you know. And a big part of it was their music. They had the coolest fucking entrance music. So, and they could scrub it all they want to from Peacock, but when WWE Vault uploads stuff on YouTube like they did the other day, they have the original music intact. There is something I do wonder though, as far as these Vault up, because this channel just came out of nowhere on YouTube and they're uploading gold, but you know, there's been a lot of talk lately about Netflix. Like WWE Network is still a thing in some countries, and it's sunsetting next year. It's going to be gone. It's over. And some of the language and what they're describing, because I guess in some places it's moving to Netflix, and it mentions like, other than PLEs and a lot of current stuff, it mentions like select archived content. And that word select is very concerning to me because I think it doesn't bode well for the future. I don't know where they're going to go after Peacock. They're with Peacock until 2026, but I do wonder in 5 years if we're not looking at WWE Network stuff on Netflix or somewhere else, and they don't bring all the archives with them. And a lot of that classic stuff that's organized by like category, primetime wrestling, and other promotions, I don't know that we'll have access to it the way we do now. And I do wonder if right now that YouTube channel they have, it's just a way for them to just upload a lot of classic shit. And that might be where it goes. I mean, as long as it's accessible from somewhere, but that concerns me because I like knowing that a lot of the classic stuff that they bought up and they have all the rights to is accessible from one central location. And I would hate to think that, you know, when they leave and even on Peacock, it's not like they have everything on there. They have not uploaded any classic content on Peacock in like 2 years. They just stopped doing it because the audience for it is just, it's so small. They don't even bother uploading stuff anymore. I have a feeling a lot of that stuff's going to go away, and I'm very concerned about that. So if you got your physical media, don't get rid of it all. Yuri, Says, lost my dad in early 2020 before COVID. Coming up on his birthday in early December. Still have the rogue days where I am emotional about it still. Missing watching wrestling with him. Yeah, and that's normal. Just to have those rogue moments that kind of sneak up on you out of nowhere. I was just telling another friend about that today because he just lost his mother last week. My best friend. And, you know, it's obviously still very raw for him, but I told him, I said, dude, it's normal. You know, like you're going to have moments weeks and months from now that are like that. It's just something that everybody goes through, but it's totally normal. It's not weird or anything like that. And it's nothing to, you know, be ashamed of or anything like that. It's just, you're going to have moments like that. So, but thank you, Yuri. So I think I am all caught up on your messages. We had a lot of them tonight. I appreciate that a lot. So thank you for all of the support tonight. We are currently, by the way, at 633 likes, which is very cool. One other thing I wanted to mention here, for those of you who are interested, there is currently a Black Friday sale going on ProWrestlingTees.com. It is the 10 days of Black Friday, and you could get up to 60% off on certain items, but on t-shirts, it's 20% off. Any t-shirt in the Sound Off store. We got a lot of old ones in there. You know, Saturday night's main event coming back next month. There's an old design in the store right now. Sunday night Sound Off. That's kind of in the same vein as Saturday night's main event. We got a lot of cool shirts in there. So if you want to buy a Sound Off shirt and support the show and get some money off, make sure you buy them between now and December 2nd. So you got this weekend and all of next week and next weekend. So go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Solomonster Sounds Off. The link is pinned in the live chat right now, and you could always find the link in the description down below for the store. It is always there. So for those of you who want to take advantage of that sale, make sure you go ahead and do that. And Near, with the final super chat, says, Solomonster, you're the man. So are you, brother. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it. All right. Have yourselves a great weekend. The next time I'm going to be live with you will be Monday. That will be the final Raw. Final Raw before Survivor Series. That will be one of the go-home shows next week. That is the next time I am planning on being live here on the channel. Right now, I am not planning on being live after Full Gear. But I will have my full review on the podcast on Sunday. So that will be a part of episode 889. I will have a full review for AEW Full Gear. That go-home show really was a huge turnoff for me. They did announce Ricochet against Konosuke Takeshita for the international title will be taking place on that pay-per-view. That's going to be an awesome match. So that has been added to the card. But again, I will have my full review on 889. You won't have to wait very long for it. That pay-per-view won't be over until Sunday morning anyway. So look for it on Sunday, and then back here live on Monday night. So until then, be well, stay safe. Base Beer says Pro Wrestling Tees. No, I meant Tees, not Tees. Smart ass. See you back here for more content on the channel real soon. Until then, take care, guys. Thank you for the love.
They love him in London, in Paris, in Tokyo, America, Scotland, and Canada, and Mexico. They say, I believe in the monster. I believe in the monster.
Holy shit. Oh my God. It is Leopoldo. Leopoldo with the $154 bomb. From out of nowhere, like an RKO. Holy shit. Wow. Leopoldo says, no jokes, but smiles. I lost my dad young, so I empathize too. And it's my mom's birthday. So many words, but one I think of is gratitude. I am still a new member, but I am truly grateful to have this family to come to here, bad jokes aside. Thank you, Sidro, for the inspiration. Love. Leopoldo, that is very generous of you, and also very emotional. I did not know that that is your mother's birthday today. Apparently, this is a very popular birthday for a lot of people. I did not realize. So happy birthday to your mom as well. And we are very grateful. I am very grateful to have you as part of our family here and part of this community. And again, I hate that so many people are part of this. I call it club. It's an awful club, but you always have people here that you can talk to, as you know. And through all the silly jokes and everything, right? I mean, it's good to laugh. So it's a fun place to be. I'm glad that you're a part of it. And holy shit. Coming in with the $154. That deserves another air horn. That's what that deserves. Man.
I love you, Solo. You are my tribal chief.
And thank you for sharing that, by the way. Uffman with a 15. So am I seeing Rick O'Shea win the title later tonight? I don't think so. I'm going to stick with Takeshita to retain. But my idea is to have Takeshita go and be a part of the Continental Classic, and I still would love to see him and Okada in the final with him beating Okada. Even if it turns him babyface, I don't care. I mean, that's the match that I would like to see. I don't think he needs to lose the title in order to do that. My whole thing was, if he's still the champion, let them unify the titles. You know, why not? But no, I don't think we see Rick O'Shea win. You talk about ending the stream on a high note. Leopoldo, Uffman, I appreciate the love very much. Thank you, brothers.